All right, welcome to Align Trading, going over today's SPY recap and live analysis before taking a look at what to be watching into tomorrow. So, first thing that I explained in the pre-market brief for Discord members today was to be watching with the gap down that we had if we were going to have orange selling continuation. All right, you can see this early orange selling algorithm in the morning, but once we traded down into this area of support right here, you can see how we found those buyers as well as some news, which gave us that monster rally in the morning. And with that rally as well, you can see how we regained this 20-day moving average, like I mentioned, and it even provided a move up off of it to retest those prior lows. And then you can also see how we are unable to break back below this throughout the rest of the day. Cannot form any structure like this if we were to head back down, breaking out of this green algo right there. I'll talk more about this on the 1 minute chart, but you can also see how off of this 20-day we are forming with that blue and yellow algorithm like I talked about. This right here for the move up, and you see how we are in that red buying. And again, right at the end of the day, if we do want to continue, we will see this blue and yellow continuing to work. And in the post market, right after the close of cast session, we are currently up, closing towards this gap. Now here on the 1 minute chart, going over the microstructure and algorithms, you can see how here in the morning we initially have this move up within this green algo. Then we start to see this white tapering, and it provides this head and shoulder as well as this inverse cup and handle that you can see right there, right? And then another head and shoulder as we are within this blue algo right here. And you can see the yellow continuing to work. However, at the bottom here, you see we are starting to stall, and out forms this inverse head and shoulder, right? Clearing this resistance, clearing the previous high of day, forming that support off of it, right? And then the 20-day moving average was right around here, and you can see how it continues to form with that blue and yellow, giving that move up that I mentioned here on the 30-minute once we regained that 20. As I'm mentioning with this blue and yellow controlled selling algorithm right here, if you are looking to short this, you need to be seeing us back below that 20-day moving average and forming that head and shoulder, right, closing this inverse cup as I talked about, which we were unable to do throughout the rest of the day, and continue to hold this as support. So again, right, as I'm talking about, if we are forming some sort of larger head and shoulder, you need to see us losing this 20-day, and we get this dip down to it, but eventually form that inverse head and shoulder again for another move up, right? Never closing that inverse cup to give us that move back down. And with this chop that we are seeing right here, I called it a day around then. You can see here as well on the 30, like I talked about, if we continue to hold this 20-day moving average, be looking for that continuation right here, which you can see we form. Otherwise, right, you need to be seeing that head and shoulder back below this 20-day as resistance and give you that move back down, which was unable to form. So with the afternoon just being a whole lot of chop as we are holding above this 20-day moving average right here, you can see that we also have this red controlled selling algorithm that I talked about. You have to be paying attention to within the blue. If we do want to continue heading up, look for the break of range, and you can see how we eventually do that, right? On the way up, you can see a few scalp entries, but majority of this is just chop. And then again, right at the end of the day, same blue and red algo. Something else that I was talking about today in the Discord was we had a double distribution profile on ES, and you can also see it on SPY as well. And I'm going to talk about it in terms of what we have here on our charts. So you can see in the morning, right? And then ES before the cash open, we have this lower distribution right here. And then after the move up with these single prints in the middle, we have this upper distribution right here as well. So we have this initial range and then again this upper distribution as well. And the reason this is important, and you can use this in our setups here, is because you see that the 20-day moving average right here is what is separating this from if we lose it, forming that inverse cup and handle to dump and attack the single prints, or potentially an inverse cup back to that low of day right there if we cannot hold above the 20, or once we reach the single prints there is no recovery and you continue moving down. Now another thing about this profile, if you see it, and I do plan on still releasing for members my lessons on this, but when you see this sort of setup right here, it is usually choppy when you have all of that volume towards the middle right here. You can see, right, once we get outside of it, we start to return. We get below it, we start to return. And it is that point of control in the middle of that upward distribution, which we spend most of the time pinging around in. And not only until we broke out above that range, like I mentioned right here, do we actually start to see this move up and attacking those single prints above on ES and closing that gap on SPY, however you want to look at it. But you see, right, as I was talking in the post market, that is why we get that right there, holding above this 20-day and continuing to see the blue and yellow algorithm at work right here. That being said, it is now time to go over what to be watching into tomorrow. So from here, right, with this move up in the post market, we're going to close this gap as well as come up on this 5-day moving average. And before talking about that, I want to go to the daily chart and explain where we are at. So with this 20-day moving average and the gap down below it, we got, right, that retest and regain as of now. But if we do want to still form that resistance off of it and continue heading down back to these levels right here, right, first support in here, then we have this next previous low. And if we lose that, right, you're likely trading down into this area right here, as well as coming up on that 200 daily moving average. Otherwise, if this is just, again, another correction, mini correction, you will see this regain of the 5, and we are going to head back up within this algo right here on the daily, back to that upper Bollinger Band. So with that being said, here on the 30, if there is a rally, and pay attention to this right here, if we regain this 5-day moving average, could start to see us heading back up very, very easily. Otherwise, you want to see this 5-day and this gap turning into resistance right here, forming this head and shoulder right back below that 20-day. And you can see how this would form, and we would want to see the break of this level, inverse cup. In the morning, we do have some news, so pay attention to that if in position. But other than that, this is all I have for the video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see members in the morning.